Rogan says a fist from your mouth. You should bring it a bit closer to you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's one.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. All right. So, everyone, welcome back. Check it out. So today I have a very interesting character. So I was looking through your fight record, and my God, Mr. Alexander O'Sullivan. Everyone, I think you have the most amateur fights of any Irish amateur. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
30?
30, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I started young and just had a lot of experience. The IMAFs really help because you have, multiple up to 4 fights, 5 fights even a week.
Oh, yeah.
So you're able to lash a good few in that way. So yeah, I managed to get 30 in.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. That's incredible. So sorry, you're the head coach for CMAC.
Yep.
And you're also signed to Cage Warriors as well. So
Indeed, yeah.
that's awesome. So look here, we'll get right into it. That's what I got. But just a few questions here. Just answer them. That's my. Well, mix them all up.
Yep, grand.
And then just like I said, just answer them as it comes to you. So,
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
What's one thing from home you can't leave without?
From home.
Or just one thing you carry on you all the time?
Well, just my phone. To be
Yeah?
honest. Yeah, it's my phone all the time. It has to be done. I mean, I think we're all a bit stuck into it at the moment. I want to be less,
Okay.
reliant on my phone. But it's difficult, Sometimes you're going to the bathroom to clean your teeth and you don't have your phone with you, and you're like, oh fuck, I better go back in and get it. I can't last 30 seconds to a minute without TikTok.
Yeah.
telling me something.
No, I'm the same way. It is bad.
Yeah, it's getting bad, but it's I'm really dependent. Like obviously everything you do comes from it. Everything, all social media, everything, you need it all the time to keep tracks of everything. Even maps, I just use it to get out here.
Oh yeah.
I'd be lost without it. But
Absolutely.
that's the good side of it. The bad side of it is like the addiction. The dopamine spikes constantly. So
It's fun. Everyone's worried about the government putting that chip in your neck.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We paid for it ourselves.
We wanted
carry
it.
it.
Yeah, we have $1,000 quid worth of it in our hands at all times. In our
Exactly.
pockets.
Apple or iPhone?
Apple.
Apple.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the last book you read, or audiobook?
The last book I read was The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh yeah.
I finished it there towards the end of last year. So I'm reading another one of his stories called The Fall of Gondolin.
Okay.
So I'm just a huge Lord of the Rings buff. So I read The Lord of the Rings a few times, and The Silmarillion was always like the one that is harder to read. It's a tough slog, but to be honest, I really enjoyed it. I'm just like, I just love Middle Earth, So I'm and I want to read new things, but it's like a comfort thing. So I just go back to Tolkien again.
Okay.
I know what to expect. I know the stories, so it's like that. I used to be an avid reader. Like I'd read constantly when I was younger, but it's much harder now. So I can only imagine for people that didn't really read, I'd say it's very difficult to get into a book because I struggle now. Yeah. Sometimes I start to read, I'm like, I can't keep the attention span anymore,
I like to read. It's just I'm confident I have like undiagnosed dyslexia, so it's difficult.
Yeah,
I have to like By the time I finish the book, I've read it 3 times.
Yeah,
because, I have to keep rereading things. So,
yeah, no, I've heard a lot of people like that as well. Like for me, that's not a problem. I've always been like, comfortable reading. I enjoy reading, but even for me, it's the attention span. I think it's hard to stay focused on something for that long now. But like I still get through it. I still get through it. So I'm reading another Tolkien book at the moment, and I finished the Silmarillion there just before Christmas. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Right on. Coffee or tea?
I don't drink coffee at all. I just don't like the flavour. But tea, I'm a big tea fan.
Yeah.
Outside of camp, I wouldn't drink tea too much. But when I'm in fight camp, tea becomes the kind of thing where it's like, I can't eat food, so I need to like replace it with like making a cup of tea, putting the flavouring, the low calorie flavourings into it, and sit down and sip it, So it takes the place of a meal.
Yeah, okay.
Especially during camp or when it's cold. In the summer, I won't drink as much tea, but I don't drink coffee at all. I just can't stand the flavour for whatever reason. Most people are like,
it's an acquired taste.
Yeah. Most people are like, flat out on the coffee these days, constantly.
Same.
But most people are like, most of the fighters in the gym, they'll have a coffee before a session, or they'll feel they can't perform. For me, I just don't like the flavour, so I never got into it. I basically like subsidise it with a Monster, or energy drinks, which is less healthy. But I try to stay away from them as best as I can. But that's my
They are good though.
yeah, that's my
Yeah.
voice. You know, that's my I'll have a monster. You know, it's not great, but it has to be done.
Yeah, no, I'm Monsters are great. I used to drink them a lot, but I'm addicted to Coke now.
Yeah.
Like it's terrible because my wife will buy, you know, she'll go buy one or two, and then she'll come home or come back to the refrigerator to look for them, and they're
Yeah,
gone.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
gotta,
Oh, it's bad.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's bad. All right, what would your favorite meal? What would your favorite meal be?
Favorite meal is probably it's probably Chinese, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a Chinese. I look forward to it.
Oh, right
I
on.
try to, obviously limit it, but it's I don't have it every week. But if I was going for like if I was feeling a takeaway, that's my go-to.
Right
The
on.
5-in-1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's a 5-in-1?
So it'd be rice, chips, chicken balls, shredded chicken. Sometimes you get noodles in the 5-in-1. Sometimes it'll be like a different form of chicken or something. But generally, it's the sometimes it's noodles as well. Yeah, so and it comes in a nice tray. It's all packed together. Throw it on the plate.
Right on.
It's lovely. Yeah, it's lovely. That's my go-to. That's my go-to fast food, to be honest. Yeah.
Right on. All right. Sticking with the topic of food, what's like the strangest or most exotic food you've ever eaten?
I've gone out and I've tried a bit. Like I was in Malta there last October, and I was eating octopus and squid and that kind of
Okay.
thing. They're pretty. I suppose that would be not too wild. What's the wildest thing I've eaten? Fish. Yeah, some of the octopus and squids, like clams. I've gone like that way. I wouldn't be. I've never eaten like frogs or insects. I haven't tried anything like that yet.
You know, I was only talking about eating frogs the other day with some. I think it was my daughter. Like where I'm from in the States, like you can get frog legs
Yeah,
pretty easily.
Yeah, no, I've never
Yeah.
had them. Yeah, I've heard they're like not work like really.
It's,
Are they
it's,
good?
not-
Yeah?
it's like I don't. It's like a gamey chicken.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
what
what I mean?
I've heard.
Like,
I've
or
heard it.
sorry, no, it's like a seafood mixed with chicken.
Right,
That's what
right.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
I
then
should probably give it a whack at some point. Yeah.
so I never even thought it was odd until like so I just had this conversation the other day, and then like I don't know. For me, I had alligator once when I was in
Alligator,
Thailand.
that's
and
what. That's wild. Yeah.
yeah, and that tasted like it tastes like chicken, but
Yeah.
something about it. It wasn't. It was like you question.
Yeah.
This isn't quite chicken.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have eaten too much myself. I had rabbit in Malta as well.
Oh, rabbit's good. I love rabbit.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not too adventurous when it comes to cuisine.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, no, I used to. I generally, personally, I like to stick with mammals.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
4 legs and
Yeah,
fur.
yeah. Fair
You
enough,
know,
yeah.
birds.
Yeah. There was a good shout. Yeah.
yeah.
Stay safe. Yeah.
What is something you are most proud of?
At the moment, I'm pretty proud of my achievements in MMA and outside. I've done well, I suppose, fighting and building up all that record and being signed to Cage Warriors. But I'm probably more proud of the gym that I'm running at the moment, CMAC and everyone in it. We've got a good, a nice crew of lads down there, good team, some top fighters and just general good vibes down there. I'm pretty proud of how I'm running it. I feel like I'm really growing into the role as a coach over the years now. I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. I'm proud of CMAC. That's probably my most proud thing at the moment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dinner with anyone dead or alive? Who would it be?
Anyone dead or alive.
It's a lot of food related questions.
Yeah,
I didn't plan that.
I'd be interested in. Yeah, I'd be interested that we bring back the Tolkien again. I'd be interested
Yeah.
in talking to him. Like I say, I'm a big fan.
That's cool.
And I always want to like people always like the question like Tolkien scholars like what he was meant by his works, what were the allegories and the metaphors and that kind of thing. I think it'd be nice to actually like get him to say it to my face. That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Best piece of advice. I suppose just to keep that one is kind of cliche, but like when you fall down, get back up again, all that stuff. Like it's anything along those kind of lines of advice. It's really important. The only way you're gonna fail in life is if you stop. You've just got to keep going.
Yeah, or you don't even start.
You don't even start. That's
Yeah.
worse. Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that like fear, fear, don't let fear control you. Don't let fear hold you back. you know, the biggest things that you regret in life are the things you didn't do. All that kind of stuff. It all ties into the same vein. I think go for it. Just go for it. You know, you're gonna regret it if you don't. If you stop, you're gonna. That's the only way you're gonna let defeat actually get to you. You just have to keep going. You know, people ask me because I had a few losses as an amateur, 20 and 10 as an amateur. So like 10 losses, like some people seem to think that that would be difficult to keep fighting with, but like every time there was no other choice for me except to just get back into the gym and train again. Like, you know, like you'd be like there was all I have to do was get better. You know, like and that's, you know, it's simple when you think of it that way. Then you just have the next fight, and hopefully you fix those things. If you haven't, then you need to work double down on them again. And if you have, then you move on to the next thing you need to fix. Even when you win, it's the same. You know, there's a good poem called "If." I think it's by Rudyard Kipling.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, he's
I've heard it. I don't recall it specifically.
Yeah. One of the lines in it is basically, I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically if you can treat victory and defeat, if you can treat those two imposters just the same, as in imposters, as in victory and defeat, you kind of expect victory to be feeling like the best feeling. That's it. You've won now, you know. But every time you just go back and it's the next day and you're still living normal life, and now you need to fight again and train again. And if you lose, it seems like the whole world's falling down around you. But then you just wake up and it's all the same. Everyone's still around you, still the same. The people that are close to you are still the same. And then you just need to go back and train again. So really, there wasn't a massive shift in your life. Generally, you know, unless it's a title fight or some mad, you know, big event. Yeah. Generally, you know, you're just gonna come out of it the same way. So looking at victory and defeat as rather than like two polar opposites, as just like results that you need to take pretty much the same approach either way. Like even if you win, you've probably made a lot of mistakes you need to work on. So there's the man Rudyard Kipling. It's a good poem. If it's a good poem, basically about how to be a man. Like nowadays, this would be like how to be a man. We don't want to like gender role or gender stereotypes, but back in the day, being a man was like, you know, strong, fatherly leader figure, and you know that's something that I aspire to be.
There's a good characteristics for men to have.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, without like having to be a toxic that toxic masculinity. It's still very important. I think that we have, you know, strong men, as in like being able to step up and be resilient. As important as speaking out and being comfortable in your emotions is, and all that kind of stuff, and it is important. You need to be resilient as well. Yeah, you need to be able to get back up, go, and continue on, even when things get hard, because things are going to get hard. So I like that. I like all the quotes that kind of tie into that. But I suppose if you wanted to pick the quote, throw the Rudyard Kipling quote, "Victory and defeat" from "If" in as my quote. Yeah, I'll take that one.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, last one here. What's the best concert or gig that you've ever been
to? I'm a big Florence and the Machine fan.
Okay.
I went to two of them last year with my girlfriend and one of the lads from the gym as well.
Yeah, I saw them a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. They were dead. Yeah, she's class. Dead. Yeah. She's still going strong as well after all this time, putting out new music and all. So
yeah.
I'll definitely go see her again. To be honest, I think she might be performing again this year. So
where at?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it might be Malahide again. I seen her in Malahide Castle last year and the Tree Arena. So
I like Malahide, but I don't like getting there because you have to make that long walk.
Yeah. Getting there,
frustrating.
The trains, it's horrible. Yeah, and then back again on the trains.
Yeah,
we had to two trains stuff. But the performance is great. Florence is really good.
Yeah. Green Day is playing there this year.
Green Day?
I'm hoping to go see them.
I've never seen them. I like a few of their songs alright as well. But I have never seen them.
Right. All right. We'll jump right into this here. So, what is it about MMA or jiu-jitsu or combat sports in general? What is it about it that kind of intrigued you and brought you into it?
So I think that combat sports is, for me, I'm a history buff as well as like Lord of the Rings and that kind of thing. Like that probably like is what put me onto history, because it's set as like a high fantasy.
Yeah.
But I love history, and I love the medieval history. So like I went to Trinity College and I studied history for 4 years. So my dissertation is on the evolution of Gaelic warfare.
Yeah.
So basically that's what I want to specialize in. It's kill, it's swords, axes, you know, warfare. So I got to write 10,000 words on that. So like that's something I enjoy doing. I wanted to pick that, I didn't choose history because I wanted to get a job out of it. I chose it because I was interested in it. I knew I wanted to do MMA. So that was just so that I have a degree. But basically, I think that MMA is one of the closest things you'll get to like fighting, full on fighting, that you don't have to be in a war. Like it doesn't really like suit me to go and like shoot people from far away with drones. I want to like hand to hand combat.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that inspires me in MMA. It makes me feel like, and I want to think like that because I feel like what I was talking about before, like the fear holds you back. If you can kind of think to yourself like I'm doing this anyway, and you have to try and like I try and embody like I'm a Viking or something, or like I'm a warrior from a medieval warrior. Like before I go in, like what would they have been thinking? Like how would they have psyched themselves up to fight? They're going out to die. Like if I can't go out there and just scrap, with some other guy same weight as me and all, then who am I? So I kind of that inspires me just to get in there. I feel like a warrior. I feel like it's hard to get that feeling in today's society. Like most of the time, you're going around and you're in a form that is societally acceptable, socially acceptable. You can't.
Yeah.
And of course, that's really important. We need to behave in a way that's societally acceptable. This is why we function as a society. But it's nice to break that sometimes and let that kind of animalistic, more like savage, instinctual side out. And it's hard to bring that out, except it's completely encouraged when you're fighting. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want. You don't want to be thinking, am I doing something that like people would be, you don't want to be like feeling judged in there. You just want to be as free as you can and to express yourself in a pretty barbaric way, I suppose, but it's all safe and the rules and everyone's medically tested and all. So I don't see it as like a really dangerous thing. Like I don't see it as like blood sport, like that's like the way it's not 100% legal even in Ireland because of the politicians in the Dáil don't see it. But it is regulated well, it is fairly safe. But you still get to experience what that feeling is, that that primal instinct, kind of like you really get the nerves going in ways that you wouldn't get otherwise, And then I think it helps you in life in general because it makes other things less stressful when you've already done MMA fighting. Yeah. And then one more thing then about BJJ and MMA and stuff is that the fact that it's extremely it's evolving all the time. So it's really interesting to kind of keep track of it. Like I used to box, I have about 30 boxing fights. And I love boxing as well. But at the same time, I think that I'd be bored kind of going up to the gym every day and just using my hands. Like just hitting the bag. There's only so many like sparring rounds, pad rounds, bag rounds that you can do before it gets a bit boring. So I like the idea that I have to go up there and work my hands one day, but the next class is going to be wrestling. Like, so we did boxing last night. Tonight's wrestling in the gym. So now I have. Oh no, sorry, that was the other way around. It was wrestling last night. It's K1 tonight. So now I get to use kicks and knees and teach kicks and knees and sweeps and toe clinch rather than wrestling that we did last night and boxing that we did on Monday. So that really keeps me intrigued and motivated to teach and to coach and to train and to perform myself and to learn.
So you like the diversity?
Yeah, 100%. And the way it's constantly evolving, like there's just new moves, like and stuff that we would have been taught only a few years ago. I was like, no, that's wrong. Like that will you'll lose if you do that. Now it's like that move might be
the key to
winning. It really does. It changes all the time. Like there's one in jiu-jitsu at the moment that seems to be coming to the forefront called reverse close guard, and like this would have been something that no one would ever have want to be in. Like it's a position that I'd never even considered, but now there's people pulling out finishes in like ADCC trials from reverse close guard.
Illustrate that. How does that work?
So if you're in close guard, you're sitting down and you've got your legs locked. Yeah. So imagine you're upside down now. Right. Oh. So it's an awkward position. You can see like this is not a position that people would have wanted to be in before.
So it's almost like a standing mount.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like it's like in reverse because guard and mount are the same. They're just like switched. It was on top, but yeah, it's a strange position. But it's coming to the forefront. We're seeing it being used more and more. So that's something that I need to like look at and think about the usefulness, the efficacy for MMA, especially for our gym. And then maybe implement that. Maybe not. Maybe it's not worth it. But this is what keeps me interested. This is what keeps me intrigued and wanting to be and motivated to always be coaching and training and that kind of thing.
What discipline did you start with?
So I actually started with judo.
Okay.
That was my first combat sport when I was 9.
That's good. It's a good base.
It's a good base, yeah. Like that. It's a nice segue into the sport as well. Like some people probably don't want to go in there and start getting punched around straight away. So you're not getting hit in judo, but it's fairly tough. It's a tough sport as well. Like you're going to get hopped off the mat, and it's like some of the lads, like some of the strongest guys you'd know, like some of the most athletic and well built guys are going to do judo. Like judo is really strong. You need to be your base needs to be really strong. Like your center of gravity has to be nice and low, and so it's always hard to take judo guys down, and they always feel a lot stronger than you think. So that's why I started. I did judo until blue belt for about 5 years and did some competitions. In the meantime, then when I was about 11 or 12, I started boxing. So I did judo and boxing at the same time. For my early teens, I had like I said, about 30 boxing fights and a lot of judo matches as well. So that's when I decided when I was about 15, 16, I got involved in like K1.
Okay.
So I wanted to start using my kicks. Because I at this stage I was planning on doing MMA. Okay. So yeah, 15, 16 I started doing K1. So I had 6 K1 fights, and I went 6-0 in K1.
What was it though at that young of an age where you kind of like you knew MMA was what you wanted to do?
Well, I kind of got involved with it like because my ma brought me up to do judo, and it was actually the judo coach, one of the judo coaches in the judo gym I was at. He ended up setting up an MMA gym. Well, not an MMA, yeah, an MMA gym and a jiu-jitsu gym kind of.
Okay.
So that kind of was how I got involved in that. And then I was too young. It was kind of, I think there no kids class at the time, maybe, so I had to do boxing in another gym, that kind of thing. But I kind of knew I wanted to do MMA.
Gotcha.
And that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's how I started my early teens before I started doing MMA. Basically, judo and boxing is my base. Yeah.
So, what about MMA is a common misconception that you think maybe?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me say it again. What's a common misconception about combat sports?
I think that a common misconception is that, and this is definitely changing now, but I think a common misconception is that you need to be a specific type of like individual, probably like a tattooed, bearded man, and like I am a tattooed, bearded man. Yeah, hyper aggressive. I actually am. Like it's pretty stereotypical MMA, but not really as well, because I'm like, and people that know me would know I'm a nerd. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I like MMA, but I like it in a way, like it is a very, like, a lot of people maybe who don't do MMA are gonna view it as like a hyper aggressive, like just go in there and swing, like oh, I see red, I just smash, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work in modern MMA. Like modern MMA is it's
a skill,
extremely skilled. It's extremely tactical and strategic, and there's a serious amount of moves and sequences that you need to learn to perform well in modern MMA. Like there really is. So like I suppose the biggest misconception is that we're not like meatheads. That like if you're a good MMA fighter, you have to be smart.
You have to be intelligent.
Yeah, you have to be intelligent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, and you don't have to be academically intelligent. That's completely different. But you need to be like smart enough to.
Oftentimes, it's, you come across people who, would be very well educated, and they are, they're professional fighters.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
No, that's the one thing I've noticed as well is that instead, like the people who come in who are kind of like the meathead or the I'm trying to say. Maybe they're a bit hyper aggressive or whatever. Those people tend to get weeded out.
Yeah.
Because you need to have that kind of intellectual intelligence to comprehend what's going on and to know, that you're constantly learning, and it's not something that you just have or you don't.
Yeah, like it's not that you need to be intellectual. Like some people are intuitive learners. So like if I say to some of the lads in the gym, like if I ask them like a particular technique or like a position, a position, they might not know the particular move or position, but they'll know if I show it, or even if I like did it on them once, they kind of know which way to move to escape, without me having to explain it, if you know what I mean. So like some people are like intelligent when it comes to like their body mechanics, or they're intuitively, like they're in touch with how they should move. So that makes it really easy to impart knowledge to them, and they learn very quickly. So you don't have to be intellectually intelligent, but you do need to have the ability to learn and to store these concepts and systems that you are essential for modern MMA. But whether you store them like in your head as like a checklist. Like I actually have like books at home that have like positions and stuff, or whether you don't bother with that at all, but like you're in your head, you know what to do intuitively because you've done it in the gym in from every position. People have different ways of storing that knowledge, and they have different ways of going about it. But you do need to have that knowledge, whichever way you do it. So we're not out here just swinging and seeing red. But like people have different ways of approaching it, and that's fine. That's completely like normal, and people have different ways of learning things, and that's something as a coach that I need to take on board and approach different students differently as well. You know.
Cool. So is there like a specific type of learner that, excuse me, is there like a specific type of person that you find to be maybe like an ideal learner, or someone who would, kind of fit the category of someone who would, kind of take up the sport?
I think that like the sport can be accessible to everyone,
Okay.
of course. But if 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 you're, especially if you're trying to learn it a little bit older, if you have previously done any sports, like especially to a high-ish level, that's going to really help. And like I was saying earlier, that's just the ability to like, that's just like hand-eye coordination and like dexterity and agility and that kind of stuff. It's just going to allow you to actually do the moves. It's hard to teach when, it's hard to learn when what's holding you back isn't your ability to understand the concept, but your actual physical ability can't allow you to do it properly. Like if you're too stiff, or you just don't have the agility or the flexibility to do a certain thing, that's going to hold you back. So if you already have a bit of a sports base, doesn't even have to be MMA or combat sports, but a sports base in general, that's going to help you to improve quicker. Not that it can't be done, you're just going to have to incorporate a lot of stretching and getting used to activity. But I think the most important thing for actually learning and improving, and as a student, like what would make the best student, because like I say, there's different ways to learn. Some people are going to go home and write down what you told them. Like we have Jake Noy in the gym. He's really like, he'll watch tape, like he'll watch his own fights over and over again to see what he's done wrong and come up with new things, and that's absolutely great. Like that's how he learns, and he's really focused, and that's really important. And then other people like don't even like watching themselves, and they're still great fighters. Like I don't know if Keith goes over much of his fights. He's obviously got his pro debut now in 2 weeks, so that's a big one. But like I don't know if he watches much tape on his previous fights, but like that, like he's just in the gym all the time, learning constantly. I'm rolling with him and training with him, and he's picking up the movements, and he does the right thing. He's been training the sport so long that he's able to pick up the right ways to move intuitively. And my sister's the same quite. She's not like a big academic. She actually dropped out of school after the junior cert, so she's not like she's the opposite to me. So I went to college and all and have a degree. She didn't even finish secondary school. But she's a little bit better than me at learning like new techniques, I think, because she's just a little bit more intuitive. Like she's a bit quicker like at picking up the movements. She's like, good body mechanic control or knowledge or whatever. So that's just the different kinds of intelligence. But aside from all that, aside from like the different ways that you do learn and which one's better, because I think all of them are useful and work in their own ways, and you've just got to make it work for you. I think the most important thing is kind of just being coachable and being able to continue to learn. And this is true to myself.
So being coachable that's definitely critical.
Yeah, that's the most important.
Yeah, 100%. For sure.
I think it stems from like a lack of ego or a trying to control your ego. Because what always comes to my mind is like you'll get some lads like that, they might be amateur fighters or even pro fighters or amateur fighters or whatever, and they'll be they're good fighters, and they'll be like, yeah, that's it now, that's me. This is my style that works. Like if they're showing something new, they'll be like, no, I don't really like the look of that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna play with that because I don't do that. And this has worked for me, and that's fine. I think to an extent. But then you've got the likes of like, and this is what shows me that this is the way to be, is like the likes of Volk and stuff like, and the other top like lads, like he'll come out and he's already the pound for pound number one, and he'll have a new skill, like he'll do a new thing in the fight that's like better, because he's actually like, even though he's the pound for pound number one, he's sitting back in the gym and he's listening to his coach and he's taking everything on board. Like he's not thinking, no, I know more than you, I'm the pound for pound number one. Do you know what I mean? Like his coach is telling him, we need to do this to beat Islam. You're gonna have to get really good at counter wrestling or whatever. And he's already the pound for pound number one featherweight champion of the world, and he's like, yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna add this to my game, but he's gonna drop that ego and allow him to take on new things, because like that, like it does hurt. Like I say you're trying to learn something completely new. Like I'm already a pro fighter with 32 MMA fights, and if I try to learn something new, I am gonna suck at it. And sometimes that's like puts you in a vulnerable position where you're like, I'm the MMA pro fighter. I'm not supposed to suck at this thing. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be good at fighting. So then that kind of puts you off wanting to learn it. But you have to drop that. You have to be like, no, I need to get good at this thing. If my coach thinks that this is what I need to learn, then this is what I need to learn. So I need to like learn it. I need to like, even though I'm already good at all this other things, I need to learn this new thing, or I need to continue to learn and improve. Like you see all the time, like from the top lads, like literally, like Max is coming out there. Max Holloway, like he's already like one of the top dogs, and he's coming out there and he's throwing this new spinning back kick that arguably won him the fight because he broke Gaethje's nose in the first round.
Yeah.
And like he didn't really use a spinning back kick ever before. So his coach said, right, Gaethje dips down off jabs. He dips down. He tries to cover his head and his body at the same time. What's on there? He's going to dip into your spinning back kick when you send him that way. When you send him to the close side. So Holloway, straight away that's what he goes and adds this new technique to his arsenal. Because there's an idea behind, like there's a concept where like the older you get and the more fights you have, like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like Max has so many fights. Like he's not even that old, but he seems old because he's had so many fights. I think he's been in the UFC since he was 20.
Yeah,
like
he's been long. He's a hardcore veteran.
Yeah, by that old concept of like can't teach an old dog new tricks, he should be coming out there and doing exactly the same thing that he's done for his last few fights. But he's coming out there with new stuff. Like a lot of the top lads are coming out there with new techniques all the time.
You kind of have to evolve because
you have to evolve, exactly.
You'll get someone who will just, if you're the same way every fight, they'll pick that apart.
Exactly, 100%. You've got Islam, like he's seen as one of the best wrestlers in the UFC, and he is, and he knocked Volk out with a head kick. Yeah. Max is seen as one of the best strikers, and he couldn't really connect to Volk. He couldn't really hit him. So you've got the wrestler knocking Volk out with a head kick, and that's because the likes of Islam is really coachable, and he goes home, he goes back to Dagestan or back to AKA in his gym, and Khabib is there telling him, you need to knock Volk out this time. His counter wrestling is actually very good. We can't rely on that. You need to have a good left kick. And Islam goes back to the gym and learns and trains and focuses on that kick and knocks Volk out. Whereas like that, there would have been a thought or a concept before, like, no, Islam tells Volk, or it tells Khabib what to do now. Like, no, I'm going to go out and take Volk down. You know what I mean? He's these guys at the top, and you see it like all the way, they're really coachable. Their egos are not that big that they need to, that they question like what they need to do, what they're being taught. Yeah. Exactly. They you can see it, like they come out with new stuff every time, and that's what inspires me to be better and to be different every time. Like even when I'm like, oh, that's working really well for me now, you can't be complacent. It was actually Kieran Davern said to me a quote before, if you're not moving forward, you're moving back. And this probably isn't like the case in all of life, but it is in MMA. Like if you're literally staying the same, and that's good enough in most things, it's not good enough in MMA. Like I say, people are going to do reverse close guard techniques on you, and you're going to be like, what is going on?
Yeah, if you're not experienced with that, then you're not going to have a clue, and they're going to take complete advantage of that.
Yeah, so you need to be evolving all the time in the sport, and that's what makes it so exciting and makes it so difficult as well. But it's keeps us interested,
Right on, man. Okay, so in your life, who has been most influential to you?
I don't know who's been most influential like in my life. Like I have a close relationship with my grandparents and my granddad. I really look up to him. Yeah. I play chess with him every week. So he's
oh really?
Yeah, since I was a young child, he taught me how to play chess, and we play chess every week, sometimes multiple times a week. I'll go out to him. Especially now that he's old. He's just gone 80. So I know that I don't have that much time left.
80's the new 60.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he seems healthy, he seems fine. But I know that I keep that in mind, that I need to spend as much time
for sure.
And doing things with him, because I won't be there forever, So he's inspired me. I just think he's like a good example. He's just a good man in general, He's like he worked his whole life and gave the opportunity for my ma to be able to have a life and then raise me, and he's always looked after me and my siblings and that kind of thing. And he's just a cool guy. He's a good example of like that resilient.
Does he come to your fights?
No, he doesn't actually. He's not a huge MMA fan. He'd prefer if I played rugby. I used to play rugby a little bit as well when I was younger, when I was in my teens.
Rugby's like 10 men fighting each other
exactly.
instead.
I love rugby as well. Like I ended up being just too small for her. You know, I'm
Yeah.
5'8". I just cannot like survive in a modern rugby game. I mean, even the scrum halves are close to 6 foot. Like I'm, you know, so
No, I enjoy watching rugby. I have no idea what's going on.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
do enjoy watching.
Yeah, no, it's good. So he's a big rugby fan, so he'd prefer I was doing that. But at the same time, that's what I'm saying about him being like a cool guy. Like, you know, he might not, he doesn't know anything about MMA. He probably
Yeah.
thinks that it's like actually stupid. Like, but like he's always going to say to me like, "How did you go in your fight? Well done." Like, do you know what I mean? I'm so
Yeah.
happy that you did well. But at the end of the day, all he wants to do is me to just be happy and safe. Like, you know. So he's a big inspiration for me. I just feel like, especially in today's world, he's like 80. My grandmother's 77 or whatever, and they stay together and they seem happy. That's like seems rare-ish in today's society, or it's becoming rarer.
In Irish culture, I feel like they've been together that long and they still like each other.
Yeah,
You know, because
yeah,
with the culture,
Yeah.
divorce really isn't
yeah,
a thing, especially
No, it's not a thing.
with
Yeah.
the older
the
generation.
old generation, exactly. Yeah.
But to be together and still
yeah,
like each other
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it's a huge achievement.
it's a huge achievement. Exactly.
And-
Like she has a knee problem. So just yesterday she got knee surgery, like a knee replacement. So now, like, you know, he's stressing because she won't be there to, like, you know, he has to look after her now, and he barely knows how to cook because he's from the old times. Like, he was born in 1944 or whatever. So
Where do they live?
they
Do
live in Donamead,
Okay.
down there. So that's why I head down to there a bit. But yeah, they'd be a good inspiration in my life, and good role models.
Very
Yeah,
good, very
yeah.
good. What did they do? What was their kind of career?
So it was interesting in that my grandmother was actually she was probably more intellectual than him, but she came from
Okay.
the time where once they got married, she had to drop her job. So
Yeah.
she had a good job in the civil service, and he was a wood clerk, I think, at this time, or maybe in the post office. He had two jobs, post office and a wood clerk, out in the docks. But like she earned more, I think, at one point, and
Really?
she had to drop the job when they got married due to the stay at the time. So that was a like a bit of a mad one when you think about it. Like, not too long ago, like, you know, a woman would have to give up her career, and now it's like totally different. Now we forget it was nearly like that.
Yeah.
But she obviously then became a full
the
time,
sentiment of it I kind of like.
that she has to look after the kids.
Well, no,
Or
no,
she should,
it's like no, it's that it's optional, or that
No,
it
it
would
should
be
be.
optional,
Yeah.
and then like because my wife and I we're dealing with an issue now of like kids being in creche and
Yeah,
after
I know.
school and everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's we want them to be home, but we want them to be in there,
Yeah,
and it's just
yeah.
like we don't even have the option because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
both have to work.
No, that's
I'm
tough.
I'm
yeah.
fortunate that I get to work from home,
Yeah, yeah,
but like I'm still working, so I can't dedicate time to them. But like I think the sentiment of it, that there's kind of that option, in that one person
Yeah.
generally,
Yeah.
the man is kind of providing and taking care of
yeah. No,
the outside of the house, and and I like the sentiment, but
I do know. I
yeah.
agree. It's a big.
I think
big issue at the moment.
I think we've been tricked as a
Yeah.
society
Yeah,
into
it is a good argument.
into both parents working.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
that's the part I don't like.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I
I
mean?
agree.
And
I agree. Like the thing is that, like I was saying, I think my grandmother actually earned more. So if there was like an option there for one of them to be able to go back into the home, it probably should have been my granddad. Not that he would have done that at the time,
yeah.
but like it was just the fact that there was no option. Like, she had to leave her job as a
Yeah.
woman who got married. That's not great. But at the same time, like you say, we've been tricked into thinking that both parents need to work. Now we can't even raise our own kids.
Exactly. Yeah. That
So
exactly. That's
It's
the
heavy, like, you know. It's
Yeah.
it's a big problem. They have to go to creche, like, sure, because single parent, like, working just isn't enough to cover the bills,
No.
the cost of living. So for
not
me,
these
like,
days.
yeah, I'm 26 in the summer. It doesn't seem like too long ago when, like, the thought of, like, having kids was, like, just completely alien to me. But, like, at 26, now I need to nearly start thinking about it, and it's pretty scary. You know, it's pretty scary. Like,
I was 30 when I had my first.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got some time.
that would be my goal though. But 4 years is like, you know, 4 years is like, I need to in my mind, I need to be settled. I need to be like, know that this is what and up until recently I hadn't even thought about it. So
if I could give you any advice, it would be don't put yourself on like a timer. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It happens when it happens. You know,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I have friends in their 40s that have had their first kid.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
the only difference is like your energy level.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah, of course, yeah.
like I'm from the States, and we damn near have kids when we're kids still.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like some of my friends that I know that have had kids in their when they're their early 20s or whatever. Um, Almost I feel like that's the ideal time to have them because you have
Yeah.
all the energy that
Yeah.
the kids
Yeah.
would have, and
Yeah.
then in your 30s when things start to slow down,
Yeah.
and you as a person start to slow down a bit,
Yeah.
then everything's
Yeah. I know. I
I
know.
dare
Yeah.
say easier, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's a bit of a, like you say, more energy when you're younger, but you're less financially stable and less mentally mature to raise
yeah,
children.
exactly.
So it puts me, like I say, it puts me in a little bit of like a quandary. I'd be thinking about it a little bit now. Only recently, like,
I wouldn't worry about it
yeah,
at
no,
all.
I'm not exactly worrying about it, but like you say, there's issues. There's like the way both parents need to work now, and then like your kids straight away into creche and all. It's basically the government, the state that raises them.
Yeah,
For a lot of it at this point, and then you have the energy after two working day or after both years of work, then to look at to give them that energy. It's going to be harder.
it is.
It seems like a modern problem that we don't have a solution to yet. So, like you were saying, it's an interesting concept that it was easier or perhaps a better structure to society when there was a single parent out working and one that stayed home. It's hard to argue against that, but then at the same time, I know there's a lot of women that if you talk to that would say that no, being in the home doesn't fulfill me. I want to be out there. I don't even know if I want kids.
Yeah, 100%. Like, my wife, she wouldn't want to work, or excuse me, be a full-time stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a full-time stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, yeah.
But also to not have the option.
Not have the option, exactly.
That's the part
That's the
that-
problem.
yeah,
That's the
exactly.
problem. Like that, both of you might not have gone along with that, but if you had the option, it would be better.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, that's what we need to fix in society.
We'll get there one
Yeah,
day. AI will fix it.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
All right, what do we got here? Now you're only 26.
Nearly. Yeah.
When's your birthday?
August. Getting
August.
there now, yeah.
When?
Yeah.
What day?
14th.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is in your 20s, nearly 26 years? What is the biggest? Excuse me. What is the biggest risk you've taken?
Biggest risk. I think the biggest risk, yeah, definitely the biggest risk I've taken would be being my own coach in MMA. I feel like that was something that I really had to think like, is this going to work? You don't see it very often. So I had to make myself into a way that I could be accountable. I had to be really accountable for myself. So like even if I'm staying, or if I try to stay fully logical to myself and be like, oh, you're doing the right thing and all, emotions come into it, So like in stressful situations before fights, you're going to make bad decisions, and you're supposed to have a coach there to say to you, no, you're making a bad decision, and to look to, even just for like, am I doing the right thing? Reassurance, to have a figure there telling you you're doing the right thing or to do this. So to not have that from like a young age, fairly young age in my career, and to just be my own coach, like to turn pro and to fight on Cage Warriors and just have my students / teammates and friends as in my corner, I think was a bit of a risk for me. It was like, without the guidance of like someone, I could fuck up, but then I just put it on myself. I was like, then that I like that nearly, like it's on me. I need to stay accountable for myself. I need to be like clear and self-aware. When I'm doing something, when I'm not doing things right, without having someone else to tell me that I'm not doing things right, I need to be able to be on top of it, as well as to say to my teammates and my friends to hold me accountable as well, and they do. But that was something I think that was like a risk, and maybe like I think it's paying off. I think it's grand. I think I'm learning, and I'm like and it's going good. So I'm going to continue that way. But yeah, I think to jump out there on my own, just throw myself into like say Cage Warriors, for example, just with my own as my own coach, basically, was a bit of a risk. But it seems to be paying off. Like that, not just on my own. Like my ma's very involved in the gym, and she pays. She helps. Like I talk to her a lot, but she wouldn't be like big onto like the actual MMA coaching side of it anymore. She actually has 2 MMA fights herself.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to bring up. Like, I say you two have actually competed together.
Yeah,
with the IMAFs. Yeah,
the IMAFs. Yeah, I think we're probably like the only mother and son that actually compete in the same IMAF. So that's a big deal. And she is very experienced, and she knows a lot about sport. Like, I come to her for like stuff like questions like, what do you think about this matchup, or like what do you think about this, and she'd have a bit of an insight, like a good insight. So like I come to her, but I'm still like like when it comes to especially like the technical stuff and that kind of thing, I'm like my own coach. So that was a bit of a risk, and it still is. But I think it's going well, and just being clear in myself and is what's most important. But not having someone to tell me that I'm doing the right thing, or to just like, when you're feeling like, oh, this is a lot of stress, like I'm about to have a fight, and I'm like cutting the amount of weight. Like I say, I'm not just on my own. I have a good management team in Showtime that I've gotten close to. Like I didn't know much about them when they first contacted me. Must be nearly 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
And we've had a good relationship with them the whole time. They've never. They've always been bang on. Like Anthony Pettis actually seems like a lovely guy. Like I met him in person there in Manchester last year, and I was talking to him, and all he seems just bang on. His manager, like, or the person that runs the Showtime thing, Damien, is cool as well. Met him, and like everything's like I can come to him for advice as well, and we talk a bit. And we've got other lads in the gym that have started to work with them as well. So we have this management team that I can come to for advice when it comes to like matching and fighting and building my career and the other lads' career. So I'm not just out here on my own. And then even like I had a nutritionist there, Yannick McGee. It was top class. He has some of the top lads in the country and outside the country on his nutrition plan. So I'm not just here flying and completely by myself. I think I'm doing the right things. I have Gaz, my strength and conditioning coach now as well. Down there 3 days a week. He's top class as well. So I'm finding these people to complement the gym and what I'm building and my own career that are helping me. But like I say, the risk was originally just at the start, just myself going at it as a fighter by myself. But I've brought in people now, and have been bringing in people, and I'm going to bring in more, as we go. That I think we're forming a great team. So like, yeah, it's not as much as a risk anymore. But at the start, I think it was.
Was there ever a time where you kind of were like, this isn't working out?
Not a time where I thought it wasn't working out, but like there was a lot of times where I was questioning, would it work out? You know what I mean? Okay. There was never a time when I was like, oh, this is maybe not working. There's been some tough times to kind of like process and like thoughts, coming off losses or things, in the gym, or things aren't going right, that you're like, there's, like I say, there's that emotional, when you're emotional, it's hard to think straight. So it's always important. It's the stoic triangle, the Marcus Aurelius book, where it's like react, or respond, don't react. So the react is like the emotional thing. That's the thing that happens straight away, where something happens and you're like angry or sad, and you do something straight away. That would be reacting to the situation. So the idea is to not do that. Always wait. Let the emotions will go down, then respond. And the respond is that tactical response. What's the actual correct move, rather than the move that feels best right now because of your emotions. So I try to stick to that as much as I can. Always wait when something's happened. Wait to respond, unless you need to respond immediately, obviously. But if you have time, take it. That's a little bit of my advice.
Right on. That's it's good to know. Like, you took a big risk, and it's paying off. And there's times where maybe you were, I won't say doubting, but maybe
doubting. Like, I'm just questioning and being anxious. Like,
Yeah. Those are, a lot of people might quit at just feeling that. But just to persevere through and to continue on. Then I think that's great. So going into my last question here, like, where do you see yourself? Rephrase this. I have the question in front of me. I should just read it, right? So like, where do you see yourself in your career, in just a few years? Hold on, let me back up again. So you're 26. You're still quite young. You're competing with Cage Warriors, right? Mm-hmm. Cage Warriors claim, those two names always just click. Cage Warriors, I go to say one, I say the other all the time. Cage Warriors. So like in a few years, how do you see your career progressing? Like, do you long term, where do you see yourself? I can't talk right now. 5 years, where do you see yourself? And then, kind of at the end of your career, how do you see yourself?
Yeah, so like the current trajectory is like fairly straightforward. Like the reason I'm in Cage Warriors, or why I've signed with Cage Warriors, is to get to the UFC. Basically, like, you know, I I'd love to, like, just obviously make money from the sport,
Yeah.
and like live this life, like be able to support myself for an you know, a nice period of time through MMA. That's kind of the goal. And there's other organizations out there that can offer good money, but for whatever reason, I've just always had this skill on me to like test myself at the highest level, and I think that's the UFC. And I think Cage Warriors is like a really high level when it comes to especially European MMA, but it's
Yeah.
also the feeder to the UFC. It's the one we see it time and time again.
Yes.
Lads who win a Cage Warriors belt and move on to the UFC. So that's my goal, and I like to think that it's doable. You know, I like to think that I have the skills and the determination and the work ethic to do it. I've been slightly held up. Like my last fight was a year ago on Sunday. That was my Cage Warriors debut. I was supposed to fight then in October, and a week out from it, I got pulled out because they found I had a hole in my heart.
Oh shit.
So that's what I'm dealing with.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, so that would be, like we were talking about earlier, that would be a time of doubt and a time where I need to be resilient, because I had done a whole training camp and was prepared to fight in Dublin on Cage Warriors.
What is it? What were you diagnosed with?
So they basically found, when I did a brain scan, they found like a small amount of blood in the brain, like so a clot or like a stroke. So like,
Yeah.
when you say that sounds awful, like that I had a stroke, but I basically did. Like, but that's the clinical term. But it was like non-malignant or whatever. Like I didn't notice it.
Oh, okay.
So then I was just continued ready to fight. They were saying that I might still be able to fight, like if it doesn't seem to be showing any negativity. But then they did tests on me because they thought it was coming from my heart, and then they found I had a little hole in the heart, so it probably did come from that. So then I was told that I couldn't fight, obviously, in thing, and that I'd need to take time off to stay on blood thinners and stuff like that in case I had another stroke, basically. So then they kept me on them up until April, and then they were talking about doing the surgery, and they decided eventually this is just now all happening like right now, so this is why I can't say for sure what my next move is or how soon it will be. But I'm hoping that I'm going to be fighting on Cage Warriors soon enough, because I thought I'd need surgery to close it, but they were saying that the risks for the surgery compared to like the stroke that didn't really have any negative effects aren't really weighed up that well. So my best case scenario would just be to stay on blood thinners and just live the rest of my life and not get the surgery. But I can't fight on blood thinners.
Yeah, I was just about to say it. Then I don't know if you could. Like, you get one cut and you're.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. So I have to then take it into my own hands. As like the doctors were telling me, as a 25-year-old man, I have the agency to say, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do." So now all I need to do, as far as I know, is get cleared by the brain scan again. That there's nothing new happened, and I'll be ready to go. So
would you have to come off the thinners? Or?
I'm off them. Yeah, I came off them there as soon as they said to me that they weren't going to do the surgery. And like for me, I want to fight again. You know, so like I don't want to just hang around.
Okay.
Especially being 25. Like like you say, I'm still pretty young, but like I'm not really young. So like I'd love to get. Obviously, I missed 2 fights basically. I missed the October card, and then I missed the April card that just went. So I'm hoping to get on one as soon as I'm able to, as soon as I get cleared.
Did they kind of give a like a reason, like a? Did they give a like any stipulations to like when might prompt them to want to do a surgery?
If it happens again, if there's another, if there's a new thing, definitely, yeah. So as long as if this is a once-off kind of thing, and the hole is small and it doesn't seem to be causing any problems, I'll be fine. But if it happens again, I will. So there's a good recovery time on it. They were talking about like 6 months to a year and all.
Okay.
So that's another reason why I was like, then I'll be 27 and stuff by the time I'm fighting again. So I'm hoping now, like that, like probably shouldn't even be saying so much medical stuff and all. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but like whatever. I'm hoping that everything just goes kind of flying now. I get an MRI in the very near future, hopefully. It gets passed. And then I recently got diagnosed with like low platelet counts because they've done loads of tests on me since then.
Yeah. Okay.
So I need to like make sure that they stay up before I fight. So there's a few little stipulations that I need to have. But as long as I adhere by them, I think I'm good to go. So I'm hopefully fighting in Cage Warriors again in the near future, maybe by the end of the summer or so. Maybe I think there's an October Dublin card.
Yeah.
So that would be a great. That would be my target, most likely the October Dublin card.
Okay.
So that could be me back fighting then. And like I say, then I'll be 3 fights in and looking to go to the UFC. That's the plan. We've got other lads, like Keith's about to go pro. Trevor was supposed to go pro there as well from CMAC, but he didn't manage to go pro because his opponent pulled out. So we have a few lads right in the cusp as well. So as a career trajectory goes, I'd love to end up in the UFC. As a coach trajectory, I'd love to bring CMAC up to where we have a lot of pro fighters and we're one of the biggest teams in Ireland and that kind of thing. I think it's doable. I think there's like space there, that like we can fit into as one of the bigger teams.
Awesome. Yeah. So wow, that's a lot to kind of take in and have to deal with. Because you're like I said, or you're still quite young, and that's a lot of heavy stuff to kind of have to
Yeah, and that's another
digest.
thing. Like that's the thing of kind of doing it on my own. Is just kind of have to do it on my own. Like I say, I have a close family with me and friends and all that stuff, and they're great. But I'm kind of making all these choices on my own. I don't have someone
Yeah.
saying like, "This is the right move for you" or anything. Like I just have to do it. So like I say, hopefully everything goes well, and I'm back fighting, and I'm just putting that behind me. That was one of those times when I had to be resilient. When I was pulled out and I felt fine.
Yeah.
Like they told me, no, you have a bit of blood in the brain and you have a hole in your heart. You can't fight. This could be terrible and all. But I was like, no, I feel great. Like, but obviously I couldn't fight. So,
Well, look,
yeah.
that goes to show the Irish government how
Yeah, how well regulated
how
it is.
well
Yeah.
regulated
Yeah.
it's being, or
Yeah.
I'm trying to say how we're self-regulating.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
It's not,
and
the safety standards are really high. They're higher in Ireland
Exactly.
than they are in most
most
other
countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because of the unfortunate occurrence we had there in 2017 or 2016.
Yeah.
When
Well-
we had a guy unfortunately pass away. But like since then, as unfortunate as that is, the regulations are really, really
learn
strict.
from that mistake,
really
or that
strict.
lack of
Yeah.
oversight.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. It's relatively safe. You can't, obviously you can't say it's 100% safe,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
it definitely is. And a lot of the medical screenings that have to be taking place beforehand.
Yeah, 100%. It's
really
really
help make it.
it's really detailed. Like it's really, you have to do a lot. Like, and especially in Ireland. So that's how they ended up picking up this thing. Like a lot of people have said to me, like, "Oh, it's a blessing that they did
Yeah.
pick it up. It could have been worse, or whatever." But just the way I was obviously ready to fight and felt fine, I was obviously disappointed. It was hard to see that. But since coming out of that, at the end of the day, it's only been 6 months or so, and
Yeah.
I've been still training away. Like I haven't been sparring because I was on those blood thinners.
Spinners, yeah.
But like I can still grapple a lot, and I've done like 4 grappling tournaments in that time.
Right on.
So I haven't been like not active. I just haven't been able to do MMA. So hopefully now the MMA return is coming soon. Ish like.
So 10 years, 15 years now, you're multiple world champion.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah,
different
yeah.
several different promotions.
Yeah.
And you're coming to a time where maybe you want to consider retirement. How do you? I guess what would be your plan on trying to get back, or what do you plan on doing?
Yeah,
then?
so like I have the history degree there as like on the back burner. That's nice to have as well. If things don't pan out, or even if I'm just retiring.
You
Because
should write Lord of the Rings fan fiction.
yeah, I honestly like I'll probably write. I probably will end up doing some stuff on history, on medieval history, especially in Ireland. That's what I specialised in my thing in college, and I'll probably end up maybe doing a masters or something and doing that.
Right on.
That could be done in my 40s. That's something that I always keep in mind, is that I only have a limited time period when I'm in my physical prime to do MMA, but I can be like 40, 50, 60, even maybe 70, depending on how well I
Still be young enough to have another career, basically.
yeah, exactly, and do history if I wanted it. But at the same time, if I end up becoming like a champion of Cage Warriors and even onto the UFC, or like I'm sure CMAC will be doing pretty well. And I'm hoping that we can, perhaps I might not need to end up using my degree. I could always do it as a passion, but not for money.
Yeah.
Because hopefully, if things go well, CMAC's going to be booming. I'll be booming my own career, hopefully as well. And we have other lads there. Like I'd love to even open up like multiple gyms, perhaps. Like even I'd love a gym like abroad.
Start franchising.
Yeah, start franchising. I'd love one like in Spain or something. That'd be lovely. Like imagine you can go over there. Like you could go between the home gym in Ireland, then go to sunny Spain and coach there. That's doable with the sport, because
Get a warehouse, put some beds upstairs.
yeah, exactly. That'll be the dream, and I see other gyms doing it. So there's a blueprint and all there for it. Like we just need to stay trucking on, doing well, and showing people that we're good, and then it will all build from there. I think that that's a real possibility. One of the things that I often kind of think about in MMA, and I think that maybe some MMA fighters or lads who are coming up don't appreciate enough, is that like MMA and the ability to do MMA or jiu-jitsu or boxing and all is a skill, and it's a skill that's acquired over time, because you can't just learn it in like a few minutes. So it's similar enough to doing a trade, as in like you were going to, like once you're a qualified electrician, you can kind of move all over the world.
Yeah.
Because you're an electrician, and you'll get a job anywhere almost. They'll have people will hire you to do your job once you have the skills. And MMA is pretty similar. Like if you have the skills to teach and to do MMA, you can then charge people to learn that trade. So like once you've picked up a certain amount of knowledge, you'll be and it comes over time, and it's worth the effort to put in. That if you do things right, you'll probably be able to make a career of, or at least make a living of it, if you can teach it correctly, or if you can perform correctly, because it's a skill that only a certain amount of people have. Like not many people really do MMA for like 10 years to pick up the knowledge to teach it. So if you have that background, you have that experience, you can open up a gym and thing and in another country, and people will come to it because you know how to teach it.
Heck yeah.
So that's why I say some of the other lads in the gym like that, I've been training a long time, and learning, and I know that the intelligent and good guys and good coaches and charismatic and all, they'll be able to open up gyms, and they can do it under the CMAC franchise hopefully in the future. That would be ideal, but even not, they can do it themselves. So it's not like you're just wasting your time training if you're not becoming a UFC champion either. There's like other ways to make money of this, passion of ours.
Absolutely.
Than becoming UFC champion as well. Not that that's not what, I think that we should all aim for that, to be honest. I think that's the only way you're gonna shoot for the stars and fall on the moon. Buzz like that. That's another quote for us today.
I like that one.
Shoot for the stars and fall on the moon. Like the moon would be pretty good too. But let's hit the stars first, because I think if you aim for the moon, you'll end up falling much lower. So aim for the stars first.
Land on a Starlink satellite or something.
Yeah. Do try really put, because that's the only way you're going to work hard enough, is if your goals are testing you. Like if your goal is achievable, like too achievable, you won't actually push yourself that much, because you're going to get it.
For sure.
Whereas you really push yourself to your limits if the goal is really high. And then in the meantime, if you don't end up reaching that goal, you're going to have pushed yourself so hard, you're going to brought yourself on so much that you're probably going to end up at with a lot of accomplishments anyway. That's my mission anyway. So that's why I haven't been fighting now for the last basically a year now. It's been since my last fight. Just a few hiccups there with the medical stuff, but still training away. Like, and still.
Yeah, look, man. I hope that gets everything gets cleared up. And,
I think it will now.
That you stay safe. And I certainly love to see you back in action.
Hopefully soon.
And in another Dublin
that's the
Cage Warriors event. That'd be great.
That's the plan. Yeah.
But look, man, here I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you coming to talk to me. I had a good time, and I learned quite a bit about you. So again, thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. All right.
Yeah.